I don't really know how I'm gonna start this video, but I'll tell you what I'm doing right now. So I just went for a little bit of a walk from where I live, and I'm just up here in a mango tree. This big boy right here. So I'm just up on the mango tree, sitting in it, touching it, feeling its energy, and just being grateful to this magnificent being who is providing air for all of us to breathe, who provides fruits for us to eat, and just for the role that it has to play in its vastly complicated ecosystem, at least from my my conceptualization. Anyway, that wasn't exactly what I wanted to be talking about. What I wanted to be talking about was something rather personal. Sorry, I just got some ants that are crawling on me. Okay. Now, before I start elaborating on what it is that I want to talk about, I want you as the viewer to come from a place of being grounded. You know, don't listen to everything that I say is 100% completely true to the point where you're gonna, get emotionally triggered by some of the stuff I have to say. I simply want to share my experience and some things that I've learned in passing. So treat it like, have a loose grip on it. So if you're having a bit of a tough day, maybe just don't even watch me, okay? So anyway, with that being said, here it is. I got contacted a couple days ago by a woman from an outside country who was looking for some assistance. She was dealing with something that's commonly referred to as demonic possession. You guys might, depending on who you are, might not have a clear understanding of what it is that I mean by that, or obviously you don't believe in such things, and you're entitled to have that system of belief. I don't want to change that. The nature of my work goes into that field sometimes, and I just got the word today that the woman, 2 days after speaking with me, is now, she's passed away. I do not know how, I do not know why, right? Ultimately, even though that was a cause that she was talking about, it very well could be, but I don't have all the details. But I just wanted to share something with you when I was on a call with her to try and get her to come to see me so that I could be of assistance to her. So one of the things that she talked about was being affected by this Spanish word called brujeria. It's something that's conceived of as black magic, somebody with ill intentions wanting to do something bad to somebody else for the sake of their own gratification, whether it be for power, whether it be for sex, fame, monetary wealth, yada, 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 okay? So she thinks that this influence had come from an external source, and it very well could have. I don't really know because I haven't, I need to see somebody in person to be able to validate something like that, and I was just talking to her over the phone. But there was something that she mentioned when I was running through my list of questions to kind of run my my diagnostics from a distance, if you will. And one of the things that she told me was that she, in the midst of being consumed by this black magic, she talked about going on TikTok. Some of you might have TikTok on your phones or your computers, or I don't have TikTok. I've only researched it, so I don't know the whole in and outs of like how it gets installed on all the devices. But anyway, I've done some my own research as to like the algorithmic manipulations of TikTok, how this platform, just like a lot of social media, is designed to be completely addictive. It's designed to cast you into thought loops, into to basically become addicted to the platform. That is the basis of its existence. The more that you are addicted to it, the more it is fulfilling its role as a as a content platform, because without the attention that everyone is giving to it, it does not survive. So this woman talked about how she was going through this weird little rabbit hole where she ran into these people on there who were basically confirming experiences emotionally that she was having through this supposed brujeria or black magic. So these platforms, including, I don't know if I'll post this on Facebook, but I'm definitely posting it on YouTube, as well as some of the other ones that don't have censoring. Shame on YouTube, as well as Facebook. But anyway, I was about to go on a tangent about how much I hate social media, and don't we all? And yet we all use it. Anyway, so when I was talking with this woman, she was mentioning how, you know, she was describing a lot of her symptoms to me, and you know, I've heard this stuff before, and I've also had experiences with people who it's not what they think, and they're kind of doing it to themselves. And I've also had experiences where it is coming from an external source. Believe me, if you want or not, I don't really give a fuck. But when I was talking with her, she brought up that she was watching TikTok, and she was watching videos that were essentially confirming her experiences to her, leading into a confirmation bias. This is a word that's come into the cultural linguistic model fairly recently, right? Especially people who watch Rogan, people who are into science at all. You'll hear this word confirmation bias. It happens everywhere, okay? Where was I going with this? These platforms, these TikToks, these Twitters, these Facebooks, these YouTubes, these platforms, the sole reason for their existence is to harvest data from you. And how do they harvest data from you? Well, first, they have to trigger the inner pharmacological factory of the human being, triggering the dopamine, triggering the cortisol responses, triggering the serotonin, triggering everything that makes up the human being on a pharmacological basis, okay? So, this device that I'm speaking to you through has a flicker rate, okay? I'm using an iPhone. It has a flicker rate. It's so fast that you can't see it consciously. Television monitors, computer monitors, and like any screen has a flicker rate. And why is that important? Because with these flicker rates, when you're watching a movie, when you're looking to be entertained, when you're trying to check on the news, when you're trying to, you know, do something for work, you know, there's a degree of hypnosis, a degree of a hypnotic state that comes involuntarily as a result of the external stimulation of this flicker rate from these devices. These hypnotic states provide access into the subconscious realms of your perception. And that is how they harvest data from you. They try to tap into your mind and provide these algorithms where it plays with your pharmacological factories in such a way where you can't stop using them, right? Now, the reason that I was asking you to be grounded before watching this is because this is some serious fucking shit. And, you know, there is no way that these platforms could have been designed without this in mind. They hire psychologists, they hire neuro experts, they hire therapists and all these other psychological and other professions to be able to help with the development of these things. How do we get more attention on the monitor, essentially? And, you know, there's technology that they're working on now where I'm sure TikTok has this already. They're tracking your eye movements to see what jumps out at you. So, and, you know, your eye movements are involuntary. So they're trying to think ahead of your eye movements. And I don't really want to take any time to explain why that's a big deal. But, you know, this woman, she's dead now. I'm pretty sure she took her own life. Again, I don't know. But I'm pretty sure, based on what she was talking about, She didn't want to hang on anymore. She didn't want to, and keep in mind, I didn't know this woman. I tried comforting her as much as I could. And after using these platforms, specifically talking about them prior to her death, and now she's dead. As somebody who acts as a healer, specifically inside of the holistic capacity, you take into account, you know, symptomology. How do we alleviate the symptoms? Well, you got to address the root cause. Well, where does the root cause come from? Tracing back into traumatic memories, tracing back into uses of certain substances to cover up certain memories and certain experiences, to be able to basically escape from the experience of the now. It's come to my attention that these platforms are corrupting the human mind, and I would argue the human soul. I have definitely noticed this from using platforms like Facebook and TikTok, or I don't use TikTok, but YouTube and these things like that. These algorithms are designed to exude, to get your pharmacological responses kicked into a point where you can't stop using them, because they want you to be as addicted to them as possible. And so this essentially, or at least possibly, could have cost this woman her life. So I don't really have a message, a moralistic message in this video. I guess if I had to put one on, though, I would say be careful with these online platforms and do your very best to be aware of your motivations, conscious or unconscious, for using them. With all of the changes that we've seen in the last couple years, and do I even need to explain, right? We pushed people into their homes essentially through putting some talking heads and some flashing lights onto one of these screens, and the whole world complied. And there are still people wearing their masks, or as I like to call it, their muzzles, because they are acting like herd animals. And the people who are imposing these agendas look at us like herd animals. They look at us as their property. They look at us as their pets, essentially. Now, this is the reason that I wanted you to be grounded while I'm talking about this. Because, as far as I can tell, this is what it is. And we need to be able to establish what something actually is inside of reality before we can actualize any sort of beneficial change. You need to look at what is rather than what isn't. And so I've had people send me like these recommendations for TikTok and all this stuff, and I always had like an inclination that, like, okay, I don't think that's good. And I mean, when it first came out, I mean, it was blatantly obvious that you know, the Communist Party of China is using this platform to essentially test all their face recognition technology, and they're providing it for free, and people buy into it. And you think there's a saying that nothing in this world is free, and there's some truth to that. You have to make sacrifices, and if something's not making you make a sacrifice, it's taking a sacrifice from you with or without your consent. So this goes for Facebook, this goes for YouTube, this goes for any sort of social media online platform. And I see far too many people giving a vast amount of importance to their digital presence online, and this worries me. And I'm not any better than anybody else. I have also been that guy who looks at the phone and the little notification thing after making a post or something like that to see if I have any interactions, any likes, any comments, any blah blah blah, any attention, essentially. It's sad to admit, but I am not above admitting that I have done that. Okay? This is the kind of thinking that we all need to adhere to. We do need to understand that we are pharmacological factories that are being hacked, and we're being hacked intentionally. Okay? And so it is my goal and my own personal quest to become as aware as I can as to why I'm using these platforms, as to why I'm using this technology. Some of you will like this video, some of you won't. That's okay, because I don't really care. But the message that I want to get across is, please be conscious of these platforms and their usage, because it could cost you your life if you don't understand what is at play here. Okay? So, signing off.